a skill or something, a topic from our skills class. You could look through our calendar and say, okay, you know what, I'm really interested in parenteral medication administration. I'm really interested in the rights of patients, the medication rights of patients. Whatever it is, right? So you're gonna pick a topic that you think that is interesting to you, and you're gonna search for an article. Only one article, not multiple, you need one article that you need to submit to us. The article is gonna be, again, there's certain pieces here that it has to be specific to, but the article is about that topic. And then what the purpose of this is you're gonna have that article is gonna have the topic that you chose, you're gonna read through it, and then basically you're gonna kind of give us some bits and pieces of the information you got from that into your paper, right? So you're taking a professional article, and then you're putting into your own words, what did you learn from that article, like what was it about, and how will you use that in your practice, okay? So when we're looking at the paper, it has to be APA format, which maybe some of you have used and maybe you've never used. When we look through the directions, again, you're gonna find this nursing skill. You're gonna find the paper, the article, and submit it to us. When you choose your article, the article has to be written within the last 5 years. It has to be English language, peer reviewed from a professional nursing journal. The article should be 2 to 6 pages. So that means, right, we don't want one that's just 1 page, and we don't want one that's 20 pages, right? Your paper, the one you're writing, the body of that paper only has to be 2 to 3 pages. So if you have an article that's 20 pages long, that's too much information that we need you to fit into this 2 to 3 page paper. So it can't, the article should not, it cannot be an abstract or an editorial. And then you have to submit a copy. So your first assignment, and we'll get into searching for one, so we'll go to the library and kind of look at what that looks like. But when you find the article that you want, you then need to submit it into Blackboard for us to see, yes, that's acceptable, we'll allow you to use that article, or no, we won't. Okay, so that's the first assignment, is you finding an article that is then gonna get approved by us, okay? When you submit that article, do not just submit a link, because the link, oftentimes we go in there, and one of the main databases that you search is called EBSCOhost, and when you copy and paste your link into Blackboard for us to follow, we click on it, and it just takes us to, like, you're at EBSCOhost. It doesn't take us to your article. So we want you to download your article, or upload your article into Blackboard for us, okay? So then when we get to the paper itself needs to be written in APA format. So that's a specific format. You can see here it says 7th student edition. So there are like really formal professional papers, and then there's these student edition, the student papers. And so we want yours to be a student paper. So that's the format that you're gonna follow. Again, if you look up APA 7th edition student format, you will be able to find a whole, not a paper that's one that you're supposed to write, but a sample paper that shows you what that looks like, and what are the different pieces of a format for a 7th edition student paper. There's APA format has a specific, it's a specific way to create your title page that you would follow that format. It's not that you get to just make it look pretty and have, you know, hypertension in big blue letters at the top and then your name down at the bottom. There's a specific format that follows APA formatting, and that's what you are expected to be submitting. That's the same with your reference page. There's a specific format for that. And so you can see this is some of those tips for writing this. So tips for writing, we have the title. The title of your paper isn't the title of your article. It's your title. of a paper, right? So if my article is about the accuracy of pulse oximetry on smartwatches, right? Whatever that article is, mine, I'm gonna make my own, right? Mobile pulse ox or whatever, I'm gonna choose my own title, all right? They're not the same. And then your title page here, it tells you right here, these are the things that should be on your title page. There's the title of your paper, not your article, title of your paper, your name, your institutional affiliation, which is MATC, your course number and name, so that would be nrspn 302, nursing skills. Your instructor's name, so either I or Noelle, and then the assignment due date. That's what's included on your title page. So then here on your narrative pages, so the body of your paper, again, it's going to be between 2 to 3 pages in length. And it specifically tells you, and your rubric says the same thing. You introduce, in the introduction, you're introducing the article title, the author, and the topic, and the purpose. So, right, this is the article the article is this, right? Written by this author, and the topic is, again, hypertension or pulse oximetry, whatever it is. And the purpose of this is to what, right? It's not the purpose of why they did a research or whatever your paper is talking about, the article is talking about. It's what is the purpose of your paper? What are you going to talk about this? Why are you talking about this topic?
And that should be your first paragraph?
That's your first paragraph. That's your introduction.
Okay.
Okay? And then in the body, then you're going to summarize the major points of the article using your own words. So, again, you're only looking to use your article. We do not want a paper that comes and you found 5 articles to support this topic. That's not what it's about. You're finding one article, and the point is that you can take this professional article and you can summarize it for us in your own words in a paper.
So, question, with our reference page, we will only have one reference there.
That's right. If you think that there's something else you want to put in there, if you want to reference anything else, the only other thing you should be using as a reference is your OER, your textbook for this class.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So on your reference page, you should either only have your article or your article and your book. That's it.
Okay.
Okay? And so, again, the body is you're summarizing details of that paper. We should see some citations, right? You should be citing. So anytime you get information from someone else, you need to give them credit, right? Mm-hmm. So if you learned something in that article, even though you didn't write it word for word, but you learned it and you summarized it right over here in this sentence, you still give that person credit because that's where you got it from.
So if you don't, is that plagiarism?
Yes, it is.
And you get kicked out of the class. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, I know you are. There is, when we submit it, there's actually a plagiarism, there's there's something you will, Safe Assign, you will upload it, when you upload it, Safe Assign will evaluate it and you'll be able to see how much plagiarism you have.
Oh, what's that called? Safe Assign?
It's Safe Assign. It's right in here. It's right in when you submit your assignment.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
So that would be, right, you give that person, again, even if you summarize what they told you, you wrote it here, you still have to give them credit for it. And then there's other ones that are like the quotes, right? If you're doing direct quotes from your article, like we expect we'll see some of both of that, right? Both of those different types of citations. But then you would directly quote them and again, cite them, you give them credit for that information.
Question. All right? Now, all that will be part of the AP format, right?
APA format, yeah.
Is that with this owl.english.purdue?
Yeah, Purdue Owl.
With the AP
Purdue Owl is my favorite. I'll actually go on to Purdue Owl and show you a little bit, but like the library, you could go to the library here at MATC. They're amazing and wonderful and will help you. There's a writing center here at MATC. They're great. When I write my papers, I've always liked Purdue Owl. I just love Purdue Owl. Like it's just so easy to go through and find stuff. So I'll open that up. We're gonna look at the library and we're gonna look at Purdue Owl today. Okay. And then your reference page. So we talked about that. Again, there's certain formats for that reference page that is expected, and it tells you what that is in the APA formatting. And then some of your APA format structure is that the entire paper is double spaced with 1-inch margins. it does have page numbers in a specific spot. Again, you don't get to just put them where you want. In the APA format, they're flush on the right upper corner. Starting on your title page is where your first number starts. Your font, 10 to 12 point standard font in Times New Roman, that is the standard, but there are a couple other ones that APA format accepts, a couple other fonts. But again, you can't just choose some crazy font and that.
No Comic Sans?
I'm not sure.
No Wingdings?
There's a list. You have to look and see. I'm not sure if that's one or not.
I know you can't use that Comic Sans.
Oh, maybe. I mean, maybe not. But APA format, there are a few that you can use. There's more than just Times New Roman. If you don't even want to look into it, Times New Roman is the one you want to go with.
Right.
But if you want to look into, you don't want that font, you want something else, you care, then you can look in and they'll tell you the other ones that are acceptable in APA format.
I hate Times New Roman.
Your citations, again, in-text citations, when you do those citations, you want to make sure that those are following the APA guideline. Okay, fantastic grading credits. Every piece, again, now, right, I just said it's broken up into 4 different ones. The article is the first assignment. Your title and reference page is the second. This is all on our calendar. The body, the rough draft is the third, and the final is the fourth. Each one of those have a rubric that you should be turning in, right? Sometimes I feel like looking at the last final rubric really helps me to make sure I've got everything on that I'm supposed to. But there are individual rubrics that get handed in with each one of those assignments, so don't forget to turn that in as well. Again, page plagiarism, right? So the plagiarism is copying not only maybe your article without giving citations, but plagiarism is also using another person's work, right? So if you find a paper that was used, that you have a friend who took this class and they did that paper already, you use that paper, that is also plagiarism, okay? So it should be your work that you're turning in. Oh yeah, and then the safe aside, which I'll go into that. There's a couple links here about finding articles. I'm going to quickly go into the library. You truly, if you really don't have any clue about finding articles or the APA, I really, really think that a visit to the library, they really are amazing and so helpful with things. So you could for sure do some of that. This is some information about so what is a peer-reviewed professional journal article? And so right there, they're considered these scholarly articles because there is a whole board of people who approve that article before it's submitted. So it's not someone who is just giving it's not just their point of view, right? Like an editorial would be. It's actual findings of information. These are some examples of different journals that are peer-reviewed. And then this is just saying, well, how do I know if it's peer-reviewed, right? And these are some of the things that you can kind of look at. Does your article meet these items underneath here?
How long does the article have to be?
The article should be 2 to 6 pages that you find, the article, yeah. And so then, again, this is the final draft rubric, but if we look at, again, up here on the top, it gives you a bunch of those directions that we just talked about. And then down here is the actual rubric, so you can see it's broken up into the 4 pieces, right? All 4 of them are here. And so this is what your first one will be graded on, that you have a peer-reviewed professional article obtained from an electronic database search. We don't want you searching Google. We want you searching the library, like the database, like an actual database for your article. That is English language. Again, it's meeting that criteria, right? That within the last 5 years, it's peer-reviewed, it's an English journal. You have to submit a copy of that article and a copy of the rubric. The topic is related to something in nursing skills, and you are submitting it by the due date. That's how you get these first 2 points of your article submission.
So when you say a copy of a rubric, like just that little piece?
Nope, so when I go back out here, if I would go to, I'm on the last one, just so we can talk about the whole thing, but if I go into this is your first part, that's due, and this is just your rubric. This is your rubric just for your article.
So basically, all we're
And we
doing is
gotta
finding an
upload that.
article, uploading it to Blackboard.
And then making sure we.
That's your
upload
first part, that's due September 24th.
that- Upload that piece too.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
I
you
thought the
always,
whole thing
yes,
was
and you
due.
need to submit this rubric with it. Yep. And then when you do your second piece, right, when you're doing your title page and reference, right, so then you're gonna upload this rubric with your title page and reference, because that's how you're gonna get those points. That's what this rubric is you're gonna look at.
So with everything, we have to get the rubric in there.
Yes, you always upload a rubric with all of your assignments.
What happens when we don't have to?
You lose a point.
What? No, I'm
Oh, I
just kidding.
didn't,
I
so.
guess I missed that part, 'cause I think there's a couple.
Don't worry, it'll start today.
Most all of the rubrics, it'll say rubric must be handed in. See at the bottom with your paper. Deduction will be taken off on final. Well, this one it says you'll lose it just at the end. All your assignments, every single one has a rubric, and the rubric says if this rubric isn't handed in with your assignment, you lose 1 point.
Dang, I didn't know that either.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So each one has the rubric with it. So so now let's go. I'm gonna go back to. So that's the big scheme of things. That's what we're looking for. That's what you're going to do. That's the 4 different parts of this assignment. In the end, we're looking for you to create this one paper. We used to have it all as one assignment. The article was the only thing separate. First, you find your article and get it approved, and then your whole paper was due at one time.
Mhm.
And we found that students really struggle. And so we find that if we do this in parts, in pieces,
That works.
it's sometimes easier for you guys to ask questions and make sure you're on the right page, or find the resources, and it also gives you the opportunity to earn a couple points back on that final draft when you make those edits. Because that's what the final draft is, right? You're gonna do your article, you're gonna do your title page, title and reference page, you're gonna do the body of your paper. We're gonna give you some feedback and some comments to say, yeah, this looks great, you really followed the format altogether, or it looks like you're missing citations here, this title page isn't correct, or reference page is missing this. We'll give you that feedback, and on your final draft, you make those edits, and then that allows you to get a couple points back.
What about in the first one where you don't allow us to use that article? How much time do you give us to find another one? Because you know, if we turn it in on the due date, if it's not the right article, how much time do we have to find?
Yeah, I mean, truly, it's not specified. We usually just say, like, give us, I usually just say, try to find another one by next week if you don't, because you need that article to move on to your next assignment.
Right.
So that's usually how we do it. We're just saying, or you just have to find a new one. No one's actually ever asked me, could I give it to you next month or anything like that. They just find another one and hand it in.
So how long is it gonna take for y'all to get back to us to let us know that we got a good article?
Well, your article is due on the 24th.
Right.
And so after that, we will grade them, and if it's not good, then we'll tell you, and it's usually, we have a week. I'm not saying that it's gonna take a week, but we have a week from the due date to hand back your assignments. So,
Dang, so find the right article the first time, y'all, because finding the wrong article, you blame.
So either we find an article, the paper is basically about whatever is in the article, how we're gonna be using it or learning, like.
yeah, so if I go, let me just go back to this, I should maybe. When we go to this final draft, I'm gonna show you on this, again, on your rubric. So your rubric, again, really walks you through all of these pieces. It tells you a lot of it tells you a lot of the APA expectations in your rubric, right? The page number, header on top of every page, it should be flush right. The title of the paper in upper and lowercase letters, bolded, is centered in the upper half of the paper. Your name, all these things should be underneath there. No running head, you should have the correct spacing. So then, this talks about your reference page and what's expected of that. References have to have a hanging indent. And then here, if we go down to, here's the general format. Here, if we go to the intro, here it tells you, introduces article, title, author, topic, and purpose of the paper. The title is centered and bold at the top of the first page. Body of the paper is between 2 and 3 pages in length. You're summarizing major points of your chosen article using your own words. Again, that doesn't mean you don't cite, right? Not everything goes, you still can put quotes in there, and the stuff that you've learned, you still give citations of. but overall, you're taking a look at that article, and you're gonna you're gonna summarize it, and then in the closing part of that paper, you wanna say what you learned, how is that gonna impact you? So you can see here, summary of paper, summarizes the overall goal of the paper and discusses how information in the article will impact your performance of the nursing skill in the clinical setting. Includes specific examples. So that doesn't mean that I've learned about wound care, and it's really important for nurses to do wound care because of this. This is saying your performance in a clinical setting, specifically, how do you expect that this information you're going to use it in your clinical practice? So if I learn something about the proper hand washing before a procedure, right? Then I'm going to put that into how I'm going to put that in my clinical work. What did I learn? How's it going to impact me specifically? Not nurses in general, but you. All right. So in that summary part of your paper, you're going to say how it's going to impact you as a nurse. All right. How you will take that into your clinical setting. Here's a little bit about the in-text citations. Again, professionally written. You should have good grammar and spelling and punctuation, and then due by the due date. And then you can see here for the last final draft, it really is just making those edits, and that's how you get that extra couple points back, is by making the edits that were suggested during those other pieces when you turn them in. Okay. Okay. So let me see here.
I have a question. So
Yep.
you just want us to have one long body paragraph, or we can do multiple body?
No, multiple. It's just a body of your paper. It should have multiple paragraphs in it, right? And so then you have your introduction. The body of your paper should be multiple paragraphs, however you're splitting them up. And then at the end should be the summary or conclusion of your paper. Okay?
So the body should have 3 paragraphs?
No, it can have more than that. It all depends on what you're writing about.
Your body, your choice.
Okay, so those are those pieces. If I go back up here to this APA resources, I want to just take a look into. Okay, so this is Purdue OWL. So that link took me right to Purdue OWL. So this is where I am for Purdue OWL. So this is the APA formatting and style guide. I will tell you that when you go to the library, and I'll go there next. When we go to the library and find our article, there's a little link there's a little sidebar on the right, and it'll say like email to your instructor, right? Or you can email this to yourself or whatever. And so you can do that. Again, you have to make sure that if it's just a link, that you need to give us the actual article and not that link, because sometimes again it doesn't open to the paper. It will open to the whatever database that you were using. All right.
But doing it that way, like your email to you, that's not uploading it on ours.
No, I'm just saying if that's the way you're gonna get it to yourself.
Oh,
Right?
okay, yeah.
They're also on that same sidebar. It'll say cite this for me, like a citation or cite or whatever, and you can say cite this in APA format. You can choose APA and have them cite it, but I will tell you it's not correct. It is not exactly the way your APA citation should be. It's got the general, it's close, but it's not right. So if you use that, make sure that you are aware it's not exactly right, and you need to go and make sure that that you edit it to be correct into APA, the correct APA format to your student edition, or to 7th edition student. So anyways, so this is, here I'm on Purdue OWL. This does have a thing here that helps you cite your paper here automatically up here. But if you go over here to the left, so here you can see APA Formatting and Style Guide, 7th edition. I can click over here and enter, and it's going to tell me. This is going to help me this helps me figure out how to do my reference, right? What's expected on my reference. This talks about just the general format of the paper. If you want to look at, I'm actually going to
So
find
what do we use to
Go to
cite
sample
the APA
paper.
to where it's right?
the APA format. Yeah.
Can you go to a sample?
Yeah. So look, I actually want to go.
It says sample on the side.
I know it does, but I don't know if it's going to be that. I want you to do the student edition.
Oh.